Good morning everyone. My name is Somi Basu and I'm your instructor for Python programming language. Let's start by taking a look at the handout of the course. In the course handout, I have mentioned various contents which include the overview, basic syntax, features, keywords and identifiers, data types, operators, decision making and branching, loops, functions, files, inputs and outputs, exception handling, classes, objects, multi-threading and GUI programming. These above mentioned topics have been included in the slides, whereas the practice problems have been included as a part of the multiple choice questions given separately. Let's start by taking a look at the slides. So, yeah. So, references, the various contents given in the slides have been taken from sites like Tutorial Point, etc. You can go and have a look at the slide, those sites, which are actually good for improving your knowledge on the language. So, what is Python? Python is a general purpose interactive language which is object oriented and it has high level programming. The basic objective of our course is to clear the concepts of Python uh, with which we can help, which can actually help improve our knowledge about the course, about the language, and also tackle various problems which we might face in the near future with the help of the language. The basic syntax of Python is very simple. It's as follows, and what I've done is I'm using Ubuntu Linux, so I have created a folder named Python, and in the folder I'll be saving all the scripts whichever I write in the following course. You can run a Python program in two ways. You can either write a command in the command prompt, or you can write a command in a file and save it in a .py format, and then you can run the file by calling it as python filename.py, and the command in the file will run automatically and the output will be printed in the command prompt. This is actually recommended because when we are writing bigger codes, then we cannot include the whole code in the command prompt, so it's better to write the whole code in a file and then call the file from the command prompt. I'll show you how it's done. So for example, if I want to run the command print hello world, so I can what I can do is I can either make a file and write the command in the file, or I can go to the terminal and I can type python, which starts the Python interface for me, and then I can type in the command print hello world, and this will print hello world for me. Or otherwise what I can do is I can go to the folder where I have saved the file .py file, and then I can type python. The file's name is print.py, so I'll type python print.py and it will print hello world. Likewise, you can run whatever code you want to run. Coming to the features of Python, Python is very simple. If you have learned languages like C or Java, it will be very easy for anyone to run Python, and it is always preferable to start learning a programming language using Python because it is very simple. It feels like writing proper normal English and gives us a proper outlook at the concepts and of an object-oriented programming language. Then Python is interpreted, which means that programming languages like C, C++ need a compiler and an interpreter to translate the language, the code, whatever we have written, into native language of our specific system, which is then run on our system. Python doesn't need compilation. So Python programs are more portable. You just need to copy the program from one source to another and it works on any source. Then Python is a high level language, so we don't need to worry about the lower level lower level libraries. Python is object oriented. Python supports both object oriented and procedure oriented programming. Procedure oriented programming is programs built on procedures or functions like C, and object oriented programming is when we call a particular method using objects. We'll see about this later. If you have learned languages like Java and C++, you might know what object oriented programming is. Then Python is embeddable and extensible. Extensible as in any code which is written in C or C++ can be used as part of our Python program, and vice versa. Embeddable as in Python programs can be embedded in other languages as well, which gives Python scripting capability. Then it has very extensive libraries. Python standard library is huge. It can help you with regular expressions, documentation, etc. Wide OS support. Now, Python is something which is supported on various operating systems like Linux, Mac OS, Windows, also on various mobile platforms like Android and iOS, and on few embedded systems also. Lines and indentations. So whenever we start a block in Python, we require to indent it by an equal amount. For example, if we are including a block inside a loop which doesn't contain another loop, then all the lines in the particular block should be indented, should have equal number of spaces before each and every line. Otherwise, it will give us an error, compilation error. Multi-line statement. We can write multi-line statements in Python using the backslash character. So the line total equals to item 1 plus backslash item 2 plus backslash item 3 is equal to total equals to item 1 plus item 2 plus item 3 written in the same line in continuation. Whenever a multi-line statement is included inside brackets, then we don't need to include the backslash. Quotations in Python. Python supports single, double and triple quotes. But whenever we are writing a string in multiple lines, we require to use triple quotes, as single and double quotes include only strings written in single lines. It won't consider if a string is written in double lines. Comments in Python. The comments are started with a hash sign in Python, and it ends at the end of the physical line. Python interpreter ignores from wherever the hash sign starts till the end of the line. Coming to using blank lines. So wherever a line contains white spaces or it contains only a comment, then these kind of lines are called blank lines, and Python totally ignores it. Waiting for a user. So we can use user inputs in Python programs using this function, raw input, or we can use input as well. Once the user presses the key, the program ends in this particular program. Yeah. Multiple statement on a single line. So whenever we need to write or we wish to write multiple statements on a single line, we can include semicolon. Like in Java, we have seen that each and every command should be ended with a semicolon. In Python, it is not required to end each and every command with a semicolon. So wherever a line ends, it's considered that the command ends there. But then if we need to write multiple statements in a single line, then we can use semicolon as well. So these are three commands. You can see import sys x equals to foo and sys.stdout.write. These three commands are written in single line using semicolons to separate them, and the last command don't is not followed by a semicolon because there is no statement after that. Command line arguments are that many programs in Python can be run from the command line. This is of not much use for the beginners, but still we can have a look at it. Keywords and identifiers. An identifier is a unique name used to identify something, usually variables, functions, classes, objects, and modules. They begin with either a letter or an underscore. So, whenever we write a Python program, we usually specify names for each and every particular variable, or possibly for constants as well. These constants and variable names which we specify in the program are known as identifiers. Keywords, on the other hand, are words which are already included in the Python library and which cannot be used as names for variables or anything, because if we use a keyword as for assigning some if we assign a particular value explicitly to a keyword, then it gives us an error. Various keywords are and, del, for, is, not, from, etc. Data types. So the various data types in Python are numbers, string, list, tuple, and dictionary. Numbers are like the usual numbers, float, double, byte, etc. String is the list of characters. String is immutable. That is a string which is once specified, a string which has been once explicitly generated cannot be changed later. It is usually represented within double or single quotes. List is a mutable sequence of data. So a list is always indicated in square brackets, and list contents can be numbers, strings, even a list, tuple, or dictionary. The contents can be any form of the data type possible in Python. Tuple is similar to list except for the fact that tuple is contained in brackets, replacing the square brackets in case of lists, and the contents of tuple can be as well any kind of data type which is available in Python. But then tuple is immutable, which means that once a tuple has been generated, it cannot be changed. Dictionary is a list of items indexed by key. So whenever we need to match one item to another item, like for example, which is given here, if this is like indicating the rank of students in a particular class, then Sam is first, Martin is second, and John is third. So these items have been linked to a particular key, and thus this kind of arrays are easily specified in using dictionaries in Python. So starting with the data types, the first data type is number. So whenever we specify a variable, we have to specify we don't need in Python, like in Java, we needed to specify int a equals to 27. In Python, we don't need to specify that. We can as well write in Python, we don't need to specify the data type of a particular variable while assigning value to it. For example, I have done here in the command line, here I have done I equals to 27, print I, whereas in Java we would have used it like this, I equals to 27. In Python it's giving us an error. Likewise, if we want to assign a string value to a variable, we can do it as follows. We don't need to specify the data type of a particular variable. So the type of numbers are int, long, float and complex. Int is a whole number which is positive or negative with no decimal points. Long is of unlimited size. It is also not a decimal number. So a long integer is usually written as follows. -0 into something. It is always followed by an uppercase or lowercase l. In case of float, it is a decimal number which contains an integer and a fractional part. Complex numbers are numbers which are not real. This is a program. So for example, speed.py, so the distance is this, the time has been given some value, the speed has been given some formula, and then we require to print the speed. So if we print the speed like this, the output should be this. Let's type it out. I won't use the full forms. Distance equals to 0.1, time equals to 9.87 divided by 3600, speed equals to d by t. Then I'll print the average speed of a sprinter is here we get the output as the average speed of the sprinter is whatever the result is of s kilometer per hour. Coming to strings, we can represent a string in single quotes as well as double quotes. Strings are mutable, which means it can be changed. Here I have shown string is an array of character, so we can print the various characters present in a string using the following formula. You can try it out in the command prompt as well. The backslash character is usually used to represent a special character in a string. The backslash n is used to represent new line. Backslash t is used to represent horizontal tab. Backslash is used to represent backslash. Single quote is used to represent single quote, and double quote is used to represent double quote likewise. So whenever we include a special character after a backslash, it is usually ignored. For example, if we write something like print s backslash double quote, it should print, yeah, so it's printing s double quote, which means this double quote has been ignored. So the quotation, the quotes which are included after backslash is usually ignored. Length of a string can usually be found out using this formula. Even we can do it like assigning s to some value, like this is a string, and then we can find out, and it should give the value of the string, length of the string, sorry. Then we have various other methods on string. You can take a look at these, these are various manipulative forms which by which we can change the structure of a string. Coming to list, so a list is usually represented in the following form, like I talked before. List is also an array of various data. Here it's not considered as a particular character but a particular values. So this is considered as one value, this is considered as another, and this is considered as another. So when we try to print the value of L0, the value of the first place is printed, and likewise we can list is usually mutable, so we can change a list. So we can grow, we can sort, we can reverse, we can copy. Even if we want, we can delete elements from the list as well. You can go and take a look at the methods in the slides given. Coming to tuples. Tuples are sequences just like lists, but they are immutable. So if a tuple has been generated, it cannot be appended, it cannot be grown, the elements from a tuple cannot be deleted. We can select particular elements from the tuple and generate another tuple if we want, but the particular tuple which has once been generated remains the same till the end of the program. But then usually we use tuples when we don't need to change the change the values assigned, because lists are usually slower than tuples, and lists can be modified, and thus lists are very handy while tuples are not. We can convert a list to a tuple as follows: li equals to list tu and tu equals to tuple li. Coming to dictionary. Dictionary is a container of key value pairs, just like the dictionaries which we use in our normal life. Dictionaries are mutable and can contain mixed types. So dictionary can have various any data type which we want them to have. Dictionary is an unordered collection. Dictionaries are also called associative arrays because it's like matched, it has matched values. Keys must be immutable objects like string or number or tuple. Keys must be unique within a dictionary so that we can find the value of a particular key in a dictionary. So for example, this is the example of a dictionary: Robert 1, Jack 2, Sylvia 3. Dictionary methods. X equals to username, admin. Here username is a key and admin is a value, and similarly password is a key and pass is the value. So this is the login details of a particular site. For example, if I want to have the same value of X in Y, then I can simply write it as y equals to x dot copy. So y becomes the same as x. Then I can print the keys of x. Likewise, I can print the values of x. I can print the items of x, which will give me tuples of username and password, the key and value pairs. Then I can get the I can get the value of a particular item. So if there is no item specified by the value which I am giving, then it will return me none. So yeah, here it is y has key name. So because y doesn't have a key by the name, so it will return me false. So and what pop usually does is, pop removes the value username. It will give you the value of the username and then it will remove the value and the key from the dictionary. So if I write y dot pop username, it gives the value of username, which is admin, and then if I print y, it gives me just password and pass key value pair, which means the key value pair of username and admin has been removed from y dictionary. Now if I write another dictionary as C equals to name Alan and I update C in X, then X gets appended by the values key value pair in the dictionary C. Operators. Like any other language, there are various operators useful in Python which contain arithmetic operators like plus, minus, multiplication, division, mod, exponent, etc. Comparison operators, which are equals to, not equals to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, and likewise. Logical operators like and, or not. Assignment operators like plus, equal to, which is similar to this x. So if we write x plus equals to y, which means x equals to x plus y. So this adds two numbers and assigns the result to the left operand. Likewise, we have other operators as well. Bitwise operators and, or, XOR. Likewise. Decision making and branching. The if statement. Let us do conditional execution. So we can type in a condition, and if the condition is true, then the command inside the loop of if will run. For example, in this, we take an input of a number from the user, and if the number is greater than 10, then we print the value of the number is larger than 10. Here we are doing a conversion, strn, which means the number is in the form of int, which is a number data type, and we are converting it into a string data type, because we cannot add a number and a string in Python. So we have to convert the number data type or any other data type into one particular data type, and then only we can add two different datas. We cannot add two different data types together. The else statement. We are taking an input from the user, and it's a counterpart of the if statement. You might know this already. So when if n is greater than 10, we print this, or otherwise, which means that if n is less than 10, we print this. Here's a note. A block is a group of statements that can be executed if a condition is true, conditional in case of conditional statements, or executed several times in case of loops, and so on. So in the above example, this statement is a block. Again, this statement is a block. A block is created by indenting a part of our code. Each line in a block should be indented by the same amount. I talked about this previously in this very lecture. In Python, a colon is used to indicate that a block is about to begin. So in case of this, if you see, when I'm starting a block, I'm using a colon. If n is greater than 10, after that I include a colon, after else I included a colon, and then I'm starting a block. So every time a block is started, we need to include colon in the previous statement for the Python program to understand. In this example, for example, this is a line, this is another line in the same indentation, and here we start a block, so we include a colon over here. These two lines represent the same block, and then we escape the inner block. The elif statement, which is else if in few other programming languages. So if I want to give counter statements to if else, then I usually write if n is greater than 10, then print this, else if, which is elif, print this, else print this. Loops. There are two loops which we'll be discussing over here, while loop and for loop. So while loop is as follows. So while count is less than 5, which means as long as count is less than 5, this block of code will get executed continuously, and when the condition becomes false, it will go to else and print this. The while loop is executed as long as the Boolean expression is true. The else clause is optional. For loop. So, in this case, till the time a is in the range of 0 to 10, it will print a. Another example is this. Linux OS is, like I have mentioned here, a list. So, a list of various data types, and for OS in Linux OS, print OS. In case of Python, when we write a program, we don't need to define a particular variable earlier. We can just use it. For example, if we write it like this, we don't need to define OS written over here. So we can just use it. Likewise, I'll show Linux. One minute. There's some problem with the copying. Yeah, so if I write here for OS in Linux OS, print OS. Yeah, so we are getting the values of the OS which is present in Linux. Coming to break statement, the break statement is used to break out of a loop statement. So it stops the execution of a looping statement even if the loop condition has not become false or before the sequence of items have been over. So in a loop, usually the block contained inside the loop goes on till the loop's condition is false, true. But if we include the break statement inside it, then if the condition, even if the condition is true, when the compiler encounters the break statement, it will exit the loop. For example, if you break out of a for or while loop, any corresponding loop is not executed any further. This is an example. While true, which is always true, so this is an endless loop. But if we include break in it, then this loop will get exited, and then the output will be as follows. Enter something. For example, the user inputs hello world. The length of the string is 11. Enter something high. Then if someone includes enter something quit, and if s is equals to quit, then it will break and it will print done. Here the indentation has been wrong. Print done should be in the same line as while true. The continue statement. This statement is used to tell Python to skip the rest of the statements in the current loop block and to continue to the next iteration of the loop. For example, in this, so whenever we take a raw input from the user, and if the length is less than 3, it will continue, it will go to the next loop and it won't print this value. If it's equal to 3, then it will print the value input is of sufficient length. And likewise, if the user inputs quit, then it will break and it will exit the loop. Thank you.